You're listening to Inclusive AF with Jackye Clayton and Katee Van Horn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inclusive AF podcast. My name is Jackye Clayton.
And this is Katee Van Horn.
I'm so glad to be here. And this is
Joshua, the great one, Gilbert. I'm the only one that calls myself great. I like hearing it, but I know it's not the truth, but I'm the only one that says about me. So if you want to flatter me, call me great.
I love that. I love that.
I love that he did the pause too. Joshua, clearly you've been listening to Jackye with her Jackye Clayton. So you're doing the same thing. Joshua, the great Gilbert.
I've done that for years. Like years. I've done it for years. And people say, well, you're the great. I say, yeah, I'm the only one that says that about myself. But, you know, I say I'm great. So I'm not being arrogant. I'm just being great. So
I love that.
Awesome. So would love to hear a little bit about you, your identity, whatever you'd like to share.
I'm the founder. Well, I'm Joshua first, but I'm a founder of Circle Search. We're a staffing and consulting firm, and we're trying to get away from the word staffing because people think it's a bad word. You know, like it's like when you say you're a staffing agency, it's like I don't know if I should say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It's like you poop on a stick. All right, you take the stick, put it in the poop, and then you run at your friend. You say, "Okay, poo, do." All right, and they run away from you. All right, they want to get away from you. So we try to get away from that area because we've been in the business for like 15 years, and we've actually recently, the last 3 months, changed the way we're doing things. You know, we changed the model to be more toward startups, rapidly scaling companies, tech companies. And we're wanting to be more of a model where we're partnering. We're going to partner with the people who we're serving, both from the candidate side and the company side. It's more of a partnership where we help. Like a lot of times in the staffing industry, people want to keep everything is a secret. Like, oh, keep this secret. This is a secret. Everything is a secret, right? And we want people to know that we're partnering with people. We want people to know that we're working with these companies. And we want to also participate in the brand and branding, helping brand the company. That's a marketing process as well. So a lot of different moving parts of what we're doing. I think it's fun. It's rejuvenating for us. And you know, that's from Circle Search standpoint. I've been in the business personally for 20 something years. My wife is also my partner. Michelle Ragat, she's been in the business. We've been doing business together for 20 years as well, 15 years. And my wife is also in the staffing, and she's actually a technical acquisition partner with a company called Giblify. And so she works there, and we do a lot of sharing of ideas, you know, how business is being done today, and as it was done back in earlier days, like 1945. We're doing business differently.
1945 business, love that.
You know, people want to do business today the same way they did it back in 1945. It's like it doesn't work that way. You have a different people, you have a different concepts, you have different thinkings. And that internet, I was just talking to a guy today. I wanted to get pretty for you guys, so I went to get my beard all cleaned up. so I was talking to my barber, and he was shaking me up. And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." I said, "People are doing business different now." I said, "The internet makes everybody is like smarter. Like I think I'm smarter than my mom right now. You know, my mom raised me, but I think, you know, I'm smarter than her because they used to rely on so much outside as far as the news and the newspaper. Nobody reads the newspaper no more. People don't listen to the news. And that's what they would rely on. Now people are getting the information. And so we're doing business a lot different today.
I love what you said about just being that partner, being that consultant. Oh,
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. I love what you're saying, Joshua, about the idea of, you know, being that partner and being kind of that consultant to the business. Because I also think there's this, when you think of staffing agency, it has been this notion of order takers. Right. Versus actually that, you know, partner with the business, say, okay, do you really need this? Or what is your overall plan, kind of staffing as you're thinking about just human capital management, are you thinking about this differently? And I think that's something that sometimes is missing in the conversation, which I love that you all think about that and are talking about that. That's great.
Yeah, we've gotten away from the client, and it's hard sometimes because you're saying you want to say client, but when I say client, I'm saying client with my business partners, and I'm saying client from the human resources, the capital people. These are people, right? And so I want to say we want to partner with them more so than anything, because partnership means that more is closer. My client means I'm going to just, hey, I'm trying to make $1. I'm generating some revenue here, but partner means that I have a genuine, to me, it means a genuine interest in what you're doing, a genuine interest of how you're operating, a genuine interest of you as a person, because that partnership may be, I may get on a call with somebody and I'm just going to talk about, they may have a bad day. And I'll say, okay, now I become more of a person that's just going to say, hey, let's talk about your day. What's going on with your day? Okay, have you look at it from this perspective compared to looking at it from this perspective? And that means a lot more to me. And it means, like I tell people, I say, we're in a business, we're not a dating service, but we're in a relationship building business.
Right.
All right. We want to build relationships. We're not a dating service, but we want to match people, make the right matches. And that means a lot to us.
I think that's what's changed. I mean, the other day I was like, this is going to make it even more difficult. It was in the Wall Street Journal, and they say the hardest job to recruit for right now is recruiters. For the first time in history, there's more ads for recruiters than there are for software engineers right now. But I think there's lots of recruiters. But if you look in the last 5 to 10 years, there's a lot of recruiters that learned how to use software to recruit. And you're going to have to get more creative now. It's like you have to take some of those 1945 mentalities and incorporate it into today's world. What are some of the changes that you've seen, let's just say within the last 2 years? What's the biggest difference between now and then?
Automation. It's like you have automation, and I'm a friend of automation. Me and automation we have a beer or two every now and then. All right. But automation, you have automation that's qualifying people. All right. And people because they're relying on automation so much, AI so much, they're qualifying people, and they're taking that human contact out of it. For us, I take the approach personally, and my partners as well, as well. But we take it the approach where when there is a candidate that doesn't fit the opportunity or the position, I take it. I want that information so I can tell that candidate how they need to improve. All right. And I tell them, here's how we are going to improve. And I take a consulting approach with them and let them know that this is not knocks against you, because people, we're dealing with people, right? So these are not knocks against you. When you're dealing with people, it's like, okay, I want to give you all the tools that's going to allow you to improve for the next opportunity. I want to continue to work with you. If you have a question, call me. I want this to be an open dialogue, so you know exactly what you need to improve, and exactly how you're going to get better, and exactly how you're going to reach your goals. And that's been the biggest change for me, personally. That's been the biggest change. It's like automation. You rely on automation so much to the point where when it's dealing with people, sometimes they want to hear that voice. Kind of like when you call in a service, and then you get for sales, press 1 and I'm like, dude, I don't want sales. I'm having a problem with this. I need to talk to a human live person. I need to talk to somebody. That's where I need to talk to somebody. And I'm getting everything what I need. I don't get what I'm needing. I'm pressing 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And now you're mad, right? You're mad at the phone. You mad at the computer. And so that's biggest thing for me has been automation, and people taking that human compassion part out of it and just, okay, hey, let's type some code and they can deal with the code. That's been the biggest thing.
I think that's hilarious. I've been talking to my team, and people were doing recruiter screens, 30-minute recruiter screens. And I'm trying to make it more efficient and said, hey, I have an idea. before you schedule a screen, call them. I guarantee if they do pick up the phone, it'll take 15 minutes. You don't have to schedule 30 minutes and you'll be able to talk to more people. And if they don't answer the phone, send a text. And that text has been huge, huge. And just being able, you have to use all of the tools that we have, but ultimately it's about building relationships.
It's absolutely. As I sent you something and I sent you, it was about culture, right? And because like you said, hey, I said, okay, cool. And when you think about, and I'm not changing the subject altogether, but it's going to line in what you're saying. It's like, when you think about culture, right? And the culture that you're building for your company, the culture that you guys are establishing, I love it because I see you dancing online and everything else. I was like, I've never seen it before. So, you know what I mean? And you and Kate, y'all acting a fool. Something I see you acting a fool online. I see y'all look at him acting a fool. I mean, that's good. So it makes you comfortable, right? And that's the culture that you're establishing for your company. And people don't realize this. I tell people, I told my barber, he was cleaning me up so I could look cute. He told me, he says, I was talking to him, I said, listen, the biggest corporation that we live in, I said live, right? The biggest corporation that we live in, and one of the most powerful corporations that we live in is the United States. I said, most people don't know the United States is a corporation, right? It's a corporation. I said, so, and if you look at the United States, right, and then you look at the culture and how it's changed over the years, right? That culture has changed over years, and the biggest influencers of that culture change is the subculture. And who are the influence of your subculture? The people. And so at the end of the day, people are always involved with the decisions that's being made. People are always the catalyst for things to move forward. And if you take that humanistic side out of it, for me, it's just like, why? You know, why? Pick up the phone and call somebody. Like somebody posted something, they say, well, what's a great tool to use for recruiters to follow up? And I'm like, effort. Like the best tool, right? Kate, you're gonna laugh at me because I'm real animated. I'm doing this stuff. My coat looks.
Oh no, I'm good. I love it because I think that's what has been missing from so many of these recruiting function is that personal touch or that personal, like, just connection with another human being to say, hey, we want you to work here and here's why. But when you're talking about culture, and it is that, it's driven by every single human, and it's that whole, analogy of your culture is only as strong as your weakest link or whatever it is, because it is that subculture that you might have some fancy values on the wall in the office, but what does that really mean in real life? And how are you actually living that? And so I love what you're saying, like that subculture and that what's really going on kind of behind the curtain. What's the real culture there? Not just, hey, this is what we say it is. So.
Hi, I'm Stacey Nordwall, host of Toot or Boot, the show that boots burnout culture and calls out corporate nonsense. Each week I talk with bold leaders and good troublemakers who are rewriting the rules of work. We dig into what's broken, what's working, and how to build something better, with a mix of practical advice and humor. If you're ready for a healthier, more human workplace, this is your show.
Think about all of the influencers, all right? All of the influencers. You got the civil rights movement. That was an influencer in a culture, all right? You got the LB, all the letters. I say all the letters because it's all the letters. I can't say it all. It's LBG, whatever, all the letters. That's a big influencer of the culture, right? That's like, think about hip hop. Jackie's dancing. That's the biggest influencer of the culture. And you take that same concept, and then you apply it to your company. You say, well, who are my biggest influencers? A lot of people want to think it's your CEOs and your founders. And it's like, not a time like that. Like, I don't have a clue. Sometimes they don't have a clue. Because they're trying to run a company, blah, blah, blah. Go to HR. HR say, okay, we got to establish a company, culture. Here's what you do. You find your most powerful influencer in your company, and that's where your culture is going to be coming from.
Mm-hmm.
If it's your sales team, if your sales, I used to do sales, and our sales team influenced the entire culture of the company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where we're going to do the president, they got the sales meeting, and the top salespeople. They say, hey, I want to go to Costa Rica. Somebody say, hey, I want to go. Sales team say, we're going over here. That's where we went. They were your big influences. And so you take that in consideration, and you can build something powerful. And it's always going to take, like, for everybody to come together, it's going to take one word, and one word only. It's respect another person.
Yeah.
Respect. Going
And we
back.
have to take.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say we have to take a 360 view. It's not, the keywords are not enough. It is looking like, how is this person going to add to the culture? Looking at what voices are not being heard that can help us innovate. And I love that about respect, because that's what it is. And that's what I think it is. We were talking earlier about being nice and how people say, oh, you're being nice. And I think the difference is you want to be respectful, but we have to be honest and transparent. And some people look at the word nice and say, oh, if you're being nice, then that means you're not being genuine.
I had one of my partners, I had a friend of mine, he says to me, he says, Josh, man, you want to be in business, you got to be tough. You can't be nice. I said, man, you confusing nice with smart.
Right. Right. That's right.
You confusing nice and smart. If I'm doing everything, I understand that the United States was established on laws, right? It was established on laws. If I got a contract, if I'm doing everything I need to do, what I need to do, and I'm doing it to the best or even above my ability, and and my client says, oh, they want to walk away from the contract or do something else, and it's something illegal, I know that I've done my very best. I respected, I was treating respect. I went above their expectation, and I have that one thing that works for me, and that's that contract, and that's the laws. That's the laws. So I'm not gonna be like, oh man, cuss you out like mother suck. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? I'm not. So I'm gonna be like, okay, hey, this is how we're gonna work it. Blah blah blah. Still be respectful, and then I'll just move on, and it works from there. Yeah, she started laughing at me. I'm telling y'all.
I know. Katie, she's feeling it.
She's like, oh, you can't say, no, I'm not gonna say that. I just cuss my kids out. I'm a coach. I cuss my kids out. I just cussed them out. And I hadn't cussed in 20 years, and I got me cussing again. I'm cussing out real good.
The babies.
Babies.
We need it.
Sometimes they need that. It's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would love to hear it. So you have a podcast, yes?
Yes, we started a podcast.
Tell me about that. Tell us about that.
And the podcast is to help companies as well as individuals. Like, I'm big on these guys. I think I'm really high on these people that go to these pathways or these boot camps. And they because a lot of them figure out, like, hey, I didn't know what I wanted to do out of high school, out of college, and I went into this area and I went from this to that, and now this technology, I'm loving it, right? And so, but then they get out of these positions, out of these schools, and then it's hard for them to find work because they say you don't have experience. They have experience. They want you to walk on water. And so a lot of what we do is I talk to them, I speak to them, I speak to companies, but I speak to people in general to get them to understand that, this job search thing is a process, and it can become a mental barrier, something like a mental block where you say, nobody wants me, nobody likes me, nobody, think I can do the work, but I know I can do the work. So I give them like little different ideas that they can do in order to fulfill their goals, and just give people in general, just in general information. I told you I'm a basketball coach, and if I told you I don't watch basketball at all, and if I told you I don't watch no high school I only watch my daughter play, but I don't watch any college or professional basketball, you'd be like, wait, no, you're. And I played basketball. I was an elite athlete. If I told you that stuff, you'd say, well, man, you're lying. I was like, no, I don't. You know, because I spend most of my time like studying how people's thought process is. I spend my time how the mind works. You know, when people don't understand. My mom used to say, "Well, son, you just gotta wait. You gotta wait. Just be patient. You gotta wait." And so I was talking to my partner. I said, "Yeah, well, we just gotta wait and be patient." You know, she said, "Josh, patience doesn't mean wait." I was like, "Yes, it does. I'm about to fight. Like we about to fight." And I'm like, "Yeah, we about to go at it." Because I'm like, I know what I'm talking about. My mama said it means wait. Well, I know what it says. I go in and look it up. It says endure the struggle. All right. And I'm like, wait, how's that? Why wouldn't it change? It always been that way. All right. And so we go through, when we're doing a podcast, we talk about patience. We talk about different things that allow people to, you know, just to give them a better understanding of how the process works. You know, I went on a podcast, I told this young man, I said, "Man, you're looking for a job, put your phone down." And he said, "Well, put my phone down." "Yeah, put your phone down." I said, if you just go sit down, if you go sit down in a restaurant or an airport or somewhere, and you start talking to people, you'll be surprised who you meet. You'll be surprised who you meet, who you're talking to, and how you get a chance to, you know, communicate with, and who can help you to get to a next level in your life. I had a young man, I mentor him, and he plays football, and he had quit football because he was going crazy. I was like, "Dude," I said, "you get out your own way. You got to get out your own way." So he plays football. He's playing college football. And then so I reeled him back in. He had quit school and everything else. And so we went to Starbucks, and we sitting in Starbucks, and we just talking, and we start talking about, he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to school for engineering." So we walked out of Starbucks, and this guy was sitting there, him and his wife or whatever, and they were sitting there, and he says, "I'm sorry for eavesdropping." He says, "But I'm a vice president of R&D in a software company." All right. And I'm like, "Whoa." And he said, and then he jumps in that conversation. But had he been on his phone, just walk out of Starbucks with his head down and scrolling through whatever, he never would have had that conversation with the guy. And the guy went on and told us some good information about the industry, the developers and engineering and stuff like that. So that's what I try to do. I try to give people information and give them hope. No, I'm not like Jesse Jackson. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. No, I'm not. I'm not keeping hope alive. But give them information. You're gonna stop laughing at me.
You are so silly.
She laughing. She out there laughing at me. You gonna stop laughing at me, Kate. But
as soon as you stop being funny, then I will stop laughing. Okay.
That's just me. I'm like, that's the people think, "Oh, you're so funny." I'm like, man, that's just me. That's just me. You know, I'm animated when I talk, and you know, I'm just passionate about what I do. That's what.
Well, what you said was really deep, though, about patience.
Patience, yes.
I have always thought of patience meaning wait as well. Now I'm like, oh, wait. I don't have to wait. I just need to endure.
No, I love that you're bringing that up. So a few years ago, and Jackie's heard me tell this story before, at Grace Hopper, the CEO of Microsoft got up on stage and basically told all the women at Grace Hopper, which is a top engineering conference for women, that they just needed to wait, and someone would tap them on the shoulder when it was time for them to get a promotion or to get a raise, whatever. And so Satya Nadella was the person that did this, and he landed in a lot of hot water, of course, because it was that whole conversation around, no, you can't wait. You need to be, like you're saying, out there talking to people, networking. And I don't mean that in like a, hey, go hand out business cards, but just having conversations and learning to know people, like what are they about? What are they looking for? And like, oh, hey, randomly, this person is sitting next to you that's looking for engineers or whatever it might be.
Right.
Those opportunities come to you when you start having these conversations and just opening yourself up to the possibility. So it's just, the wait and endure, two very different things. Absolutely.
It's two different things. It's like, and I want to go I believe in nature, right? To get me to go sit in a camper or a camp, like fire, and there's a fire in the Joshua ain't doing that. He's not doing that. All right. But I learned from nature, right? And with nature teaches, like that guy, he says that, all right? And he doesn't study nature, because if he understands, like, and there's some women, y'all might get mad when I say this, but you're gonna be happy afterwards. There are some, you're gonna be mad, and I'm gonna say it, you're gonna be like, oh, that makes sense to them. So there are women out there that they try to fit into that man's world. All right, that's like what's my man said that James Brown, that's the man's world. You know, so there, you gonna stop laughing at me. So they try to fit into that world, right? But they're not understanding what nature has been teaching you all these years. You know, Mother Nature. People say Mother Nature. That's like, don't mess with Mother Nature. That's a leader. All right. They say like the elephant. All right. The female elephant leads the herd. It's the bear that protects the young. It's the female horse teaches the little colts. And so if you can understand that nature's been telling you this all the time, that women have a definite leadership and power, have always been in power, and empower the young, and have the definite leadership, then you're not understanding what nature's been teaching you, because you've been so focused on this corporation and doing things like, oh, well, come on, Bob. Come on, man. Women have always exhibited leadership all throughout the history of the world. But with a lot of guys, they're not paying attention. They're paying attention with the corporations. The corporations are what the trends say. You know, I don't like to see when women are saying, well, leadership. I'm like, you're a natural leader. Like my mom, you know, I like her too. My mom, she taught me how to cook, clean, right? Work outside, you know, organic gardening. My mother taught me all that stuff. You know, it wasn't my dad. My mama taught me all that stuff. So when you're looking at a female and they're saying, well, you just got to wait. No, you don't have to wait. You know, if you are qualified and you've done everything that exhibits that you should be in that position, then give you what you deserve.
Optimize your business with a Workforce AI Edge powered by Vizier. Make smarter decisions and achieve better outcomes with real-time AI insights delivered to every people leader. Explore more at visier.com.
And you can be yourself. You don't have to try to be like Bob.
Yes.
Just be who you are.
Be who you are.
But I think what we've learned, this is what has been a long struggle. Like we've talked about this over and over and over again ad nauseum, about how a lot of times people wait to get asked. And you know what they say about closed mouths don't get fed.
Don't get fed.
Right? You have to open up and say, this is what I'm doing, and don't wait. And we talked about that internally. We were having a meeting, and people always say, expect good intent. And I was like, I don't expect good intent. Mm-hmm. Right? And I know people get upset when I say that, but it's like, no, that's what gets people hurt, is me expecting great intent. That's what held me back before. I'm going to, I'll think it, but I'm going to get some clarification on that before I just assume good intent.
You're taking the limitations off your life. It's like you literally took all the limitations, things that were, because you weren't getting it. You're like, okay, I'm not getting what I want right now because I'm limiting myself, because this is what they say. This is where I have to be. But then once you take those limitations, like you peel them off of your skin, and you're like, man, I'm getting a lot of stuff done around here today. You know, I'm getting a lot of stuff done just because I took the limitations. So that's you know, it's just, when you look at things, I always say, like, critical thinking. You gotta be a critical thinker. They gotta look at, you gotta see what's really, you know, and I'm gonna be like my friend, man, I see what's really going on out here. No, you just gotta see, you know, just gotta see what's out there, and don't take what they're gonna just because, and like my friend says to me, he always come in, and I imitate all my friends. All right. If you've ever heard him talk, you'll say, dude. So anytime I'm talking about one of my friends or saying something, mention their name, I start speaking like them. So he comes to my house and says, hey dude, oh dude, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. I'm like, I said, dude, don't put that on me. Don't put your limitations on me, because I'm not gonna put that in my universe. I got a glass door. either you can stay out with that crap, or you can come in. But I'm not gonna allow you to take how you feel about certain situations and put it on me, because it just doesn't work that way. Not for me. So that's how I take it. What else you got for me, Kate? Let me tell you something. You're gonna stop laughing at me.
What's that?
You're gonna stop laughing at me today.
I want to be clear that I'm not laughing at you. I think that you're amusing, but your content is very good. Just so we're all clear, it's your delivery that I really appreciate. So let me ask you a question. So, Jackye mentioned the, recruiter role is one of the hardest to fill right now. What are you seeing out there trend wise? As you're thinking about the rest of this year going into 2022, what are the things that you're seeing in recruiting and kind of out there in the world that you're excited about? What are you worried about? What's keeping you up at night? All those things.
I'm excited about talking to you guys. That's my excitement.
Well, right? Of course. That's top of the list. Of course.
Let's get that. I'm excited about, we've got no November, decision December, and then we're going to Jubilee January. All right. That's a new one. So I'm excited about it. I love it. All right. What I've seen is, like, I've talked to a young lady recently, and she's trying to get into recruiting. And what I've seen is that people they're not training recruiters. All right. They're not training recruiters. They're not, it's like there's a lot of people that want to get into that role, but they don't have the necessary experience. And I say, when you give people an opportunity, that gives them the experience. All right, anytime I get an opportunity that gives me experience, it's gonna be up to me to screw it up, right? And so what I see in that particular perspective is that there are a lot of people who they say, well, there's a limit on recruiters. Like, I think a lot of times what's happening is that your expectation for someone, they're not going to get 20 years experience. All right, and I'll get all my experience. All right, for in a year, they're not going to get that. So you give people an opportunity that want to get in that role, and you can bring them in as a sourcer, and then learn. Like, when I got in IT recruiting, and I didn't know anything about IT. I didn't know anything about IT. I knew about sales, and I knew how to talk to people. And as I went through that process, I started learning more and more and more and more. People wanted to hire me because my personality is just dynamite, because I know that. But people want me because my personality.
Jackye, you're not allowed to laugh anymore. You are not allowed to laugh at him. Cut it out.
Once you got Kate, let me tell you something. Kate, I'm gonna limit your laughs. You get one or two more. Because you laugh the most.
Okay.
It is documented. You're recording this. You laugh the most. And Jackye, she can laugh every now and then.
I'll just sit here quietly for the rest of our time together.
You're allowed to give a hard smile, like a hard smile. All right, that's what we get. But where was I? All right, but people are not giving people opportunities right now, and I'm excited. I'm excited about next for us, for Circle Search. For us, I'm excited to be able to work with companies, startups. I'm excited to be a part, like for us, the new model that we're using. It excites me. It gives me more. It gives me energy. It gives me an opportunity to do what I like to do what I like to do. And what I like doing is more, it's like the critical thinking part. I was talking to a company, and it was a startup, and I said to them, well, why don't you? They were talking about the engineering department, and because the startups don't have that much the revenue, the budget is kind of, you got to be real, picky on how you spend your money. And so I said, well, why don't you guys just hire your engineers in Canada? And they were like, what? I said, yeah, build your teams in Canada. I said, take your teams, build your team in Canada. I said, it's going to be cheaper. I said, the help, the insurance and all that stuff, they taking care of our stuff. And said, well, how would you? I said, you got Zoom. Like Zoom videos and Google Meet, that makes everybody local. That makes everybody local. So I said, why don't you? And she was like, oh my God, I never thought about that. And she said, well, she went to her CEO and talked about that. Said, yeah, I said, there are some corporation enterprise companies have been building their companies, been in their teams in Canada, their engineers in Canada. And we didn't use Zoom. But right now, we're local. I mean, everybody's local right now. So now that gives opportunity, you can do a lot more. So I'm excited, like I said, I'm excited to be with the model that we're using. I'm excited about that. They're gonna announce a new partnership that we're gonna work with startups as far as their MVPs, and I'm excited about that. And then and it also gives me opportunity to bring on some more young talent, and give them opportunities. Give them opportunities to get the experience. To move on in their life. You go to school for 4 years, you go, come on. Like these young guys, it kills me. They say, I said, what you going to school for? Business? Business what? Business? No, give me an idea what you're going to school for. In IT, in insurance, what you going to school for? Understand what you're going to school for. But it gives us, for me, that's the exciting part for us. The model that we're using and the fact that it's going to give so many people, I think it gives so many people a lot more opportunities.
And we have to, as long as you can bring the equity part to the table. That's what I keep saying. Like, you got to give people the opportunity, but you have to take on, you are now responsible for that person. You have to set people up with a training and a plan, evaluating skills, making sure that you're there. It's not that difficult. There's lots of tools online to help you do that, but you can't just wish somebody to be successful. So when you're doing those kind of models, it's like, how are you going to bring support? And you have to bring a culture of equity, because there's always someone who's going to say, oh, it's not fair, and they get extra this and this and this. It's like, they have to work harder. We're trying to ramp them up so that they can be at your level,
right? So
that we can be successful as a company. And I think we've lost some of that. I know we don't have like the company people as much anymore, but we're missing that, where we have to be able to rally around a goal. And I think people are grateful that if you had a culture of equity, would be so, happy to be able to return the favor and understand what we're working towards.
That's very important. Like I told you, we was talking about. So I did something I didn't tell you, and I put it in my profile. I thought you was going to ask me that question too. And I put, let's say, homeless snob.
Mm-hmm.
And say, put homeless snob. I said, well, they're going to ask me about the homeless snob. Why would you call it homeless snob? I said, so I lived in New York for 2 years. No, for 4 years. I was going to school out there. And then I ended up moving to Connecticut a little later. But I was there, I was homeless. I was homeless for 2 years. I was like sleeping in the streets. It wasn't for no drugs, it wasn't for no mental, I might be mental right now, but it wasn't for the mental health, and it wasn't for any, alcohol or anything. It was just like, they flipped the coin came down, and instead of laying on the head or the side, or the heads or the tails, it laid on the side. All right, and so now I'm out without a place to stay. And so I'm out there living with the homeless people, all right, sleeping under the trees sometime, in the shelters, and I did all that stuff. But you would never know that. You would never know that because I worked, I had a bank account, I kept my clothes clean. I wasn't going to accept that part in my life, all right? I wasn't going to accept that. I said, this is where I am right now, and in a year or two, I'm getting out of this. I'm not going to be here forever. All right, this is where I am right now. My mom called me, well, baby, just come home, baby, come home. I said, I can't do that. I can't go home. I can't go home a failure, right? And so during that time, if I had someone to pull me in and say, hey, Joshua, this is how you do it, all right? Giving me that, because my knowledge, I'm from Louisiana originally. I'm from the bottom. I'm from the boot, all right? I'm from New Iberia, Louisiana. I'm from the boot. I mean, the mud. That's where you're from, the mud, all right? So we're in the mud, and we don't know. We don't have that equity, or that someone who invests in their time or energy and say, hey man, this is how you do it. Our stuff come like, okay, you have, as you grow throughout your life, and you start learning these things. And so have somebody pull me to the side and say, man, listen, you're doing this all wrong, because if you had did it this way, you wouldn't be finding yourself homeless. You wouldn't find yourself. And so I became, when I was out there, I became like, because I saw some of the guys who were just using the system, right? And so I treated everybody the same way. Like people telling me about somebody homeless, hey, give him $1. I said, man, you got my face. I ain't giving nothing, right? And so I was like that after I got out of that situation, all right? And I started learning different things. And the people that was teaching me the most when I moved to Connecticut, the people that started teaching me, there was a professor. He was a professor. He was homeless. He had just gave up. He said, I'm done. This is life. That's what he said he's gonna like. And he started giving me secrets. He just started telling me secrets. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. This is how you do it. And I'm like, okay. So now I'm able to build my life and say, okay, now I'm in a situation where, okay, I got a home now, everything else, but I'm able to build my life to get to the next point, the next level of my life, right? But somebody invested a little bit of time. There's another guy. This guy was a Wall Street genius. Like he was a Wall Street genius, and he was out there in the streets. And you said, well, man, what are you doing out? What are you doing out here? He said, I just gave it up. I'm not gonna do this stuff no more. I don't want to be in that life no more. But he had secrets, and he started giving you a secret. He said, okay, this is how you do this. This is how you move. This is how you navigate. And that's what you find in corporations right now, where there are people that say, I just want to navigate and get to the next level and be me, but I can be me and navigate and get to the next level of my life without, feeling I got to be uncomfortable. I want you to invest your time, invest some energy and efforts into me. And that's how it works.
Love that. And,
I think my second water now.
Okay. Well, first off, thank you. I mean, I think this has been, just interesting to hear a different perspective. And even just this last piece where you're sharing a little bit of the journey that you have been on and that you are continuing on. One of the things we like to do at the end of each episode is just share a little bit of what do you want our listeners to take away from this episode? What's the one thing? Jackye and I never actually do one. We do like 7, but still we try our best. What's the one thing you want to make sure our listeners hear from you?
I want them to hear from me about compassion, and remember that when you're dealing with people, it's people. I want recruiters to understand that when you're talking to people and you don't follow up with them or all this, you're still dealing with people, and you may have been in that position in the past, and you got to understand how you felt. So that's important to me. Like in any situation, you're dealing with people, and if you take that human side out of it, you take that humanistic side out of it, we're gonna go into a world that's gonna be totally like like that Will Smith movie, when I Am Robot or something like that. Where people are. So you're dealing with people, and if you understand those things, then you'll understand that you can help people and make a better humanity. From a business side, we want to partner with you. We want to be a partner first and foremost. We want to consult with you and help you. Our best interest right now is the growth of any business that we work with. That's in our best interest. If you're a business and you're a small company or startup, rapidly scaling company, that's what we are. We want to partner with you and be that arm for you to help with your growth as well.
Love it. Jackye?
I'm still going back to patience doesn't mean wait. It means endure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
It's life-changing for me. I'm going to get that on a shirt. Because there's so many times where people say I'm not being patient, and now I'm like, no, I'm being really patient. I'm being really patient right now, right? So that's gonna stay with me.
I love it. The one that you kind of just echoed what I was thinking, Joshua, of like the compassion and also just that follow up, that respect, that being the consultant, being the partner to the folks that are looking for jobs and the partners that you're working with at your, the organizations that you're working with. I think that's such a critical piece, because I think you forget one or the other sometimes.
Yeah.
Not because you're trying to, but just you get busy, you get, you're in the weeds trying to fill, 100 open recs, whatever it is. So just keeping that people factor in mind, and that we're talking about people, and people need, especially now, all the support, all the compassion, all of the follow-up that's possible. So Joshua, thank you so much for being here. Say the name of your podcast again.
My podcast is Circle Search, and it's work, life, etc.
Now we're going with the King and I love it. And Circle Search is your organization as well for finding top talent.
Why does
That's
it seem like
amazing.
Katie and Joshua are going to be like best friends?
We are.
Right?
You don't even know. Mhm.
You never know. Katie is
I'm already inviting him to the barbecue this weekend. It's going to be good.
She wants me to make her laugh on her bad days. That's what she
Yes, I do. Well, actually, I don't know, Joshua, I don't know if you know this, but one of our dear friends, Robin Schooling, is from Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And so we love our Louisiana peeps. So yeah, all good. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. This is the Inclusive AF podcast. My name is Katie Van Horn.
And I'm Jackye Clayton. Goodbye.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day.